Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric and Vlogmas 2022. As you can see, it is December 20th. Only a few more days to go and Christmas will be here. So, let's go ahead and grab our fiber. There's only a few bundles left in there. Goodness. Yep. After this one, there's only 4. And there is, I can tell just from the outside color, there is one more yellow in there. So, this bag does not want to open well. And we have another lint hazelnut truffle. Let's see what else we have in here. That's the card. A little gold present. And shamrock. Oh, what a pretty green. That is definitely a green. Not these blue greens like yesterday's country green exhaust, but a real green. Being left for this last week before Christmas. Maybe there's some magic in the air to get a little bit of green. Now, the magic would be if I reached in there and pulled out a red, because I did not put any reds in. I wish I could spin this way. And I know in one of the earlier videos we attempted. I don't draft well in this direction. I need to practice. It would be, it'd be good to be able to be a bit more ambidextrous in my my drafting. But I just feel like when I try to draft from this direction, all I'm doing is pulling apart my fiber and it's just going to be a mess. So we'll go back to this side, even though on the other side we have the camera catches it a little bit better. The joys of spinning in front of a camera. Now, we are 20 days into this spin along, and I thought today might be a good time to refresh everyone's memory of how this started and talk about what I plan to do up next. Besides take a long nap when Christmas arrives. So I started this spin along with the intent to have fiber to count down each day until Christmas. There are a number of indie dyers and yarn companies out there that will put together Advent boxes. Some that may be the 24 days, some that may be the 12 days of Christmas. But I know there are a number of them out there that put together spinnable fibers and a lot of knit and crochet fibers. So a lot of yarn companies. I don't know how many do the fiber, but I have heard of fiber bundles being something that you can get for a countdown calendar and Advent. And the idea of those this year kind of did intrigue me, but I have a very patient husband. I have a very supporting husband. But I think his patience and support would be tested if I said, "Oh, honey, I want to have a box of fiber come so that I can spin every day or have something to knit." He'd be like, "But dear, we have entire sheds full of fiber. We have bins and bins and buckets of fiber." So I didn't think I'd push my luck of and have a box of fiber come. Instead, I thought it'd be fun to dye up some colors. And my initial thought was more of a rainbow. Or then, because I keep thinking about having muddy final product, I thought of a rainbow, but then I thought, well, I'll just go with one section of the color wheel. Fast forward to the day that I was picking my dyes, and I discovered that my green stash of dyes, that I had 11 different colors of dyes. And technically I probably only have 10 because somehow I have ended up purchasing the same color twice. I think it has to do with when I purchase dyes, I'll check and see if the dye company has any dyes on sale, because the type of dyeing I do, it doesn't matter if the dyes get a little bit old, if they crack, if they split, because I dye for the fun of it, and I embrace the unique colors that I get from my imperfect process, my perfectly imperfect process of dyeing fiber. So when I discovered I had so many greens, I thought, okay, my first thought was I'll do from the green, yellow, and blue section of the color wheel. I thought that would be really pretty. It'd be festive. And so yeah, that was the idea. But rushing, winging it, not really knowing exactly how much dye I should use for the small amount of fiber that I was dyeing in each color, and chatting on the video chatting with my son as I was doing all of this. Needless to say, I used a little too much dye in some of the pots, or used a little too much dye in all of the pots, and there was not enough fiber to use up all of the prepared dye. So, thus the exhaust. I exhausted each little dye bath with another section of fiber, and I did keep track, and I knew I'd get a lot of blues because the blue greens do tend to have a lot of blue, and if I'm going to have dye left over from a miscalculation, it usually leaves behind the extra blue. So, pulling all the neps out of this. So, that's how I ended up with my 24, actually I ended up with 26 little balls of color. But, of course, I needed to do some testing out the wheel, etc. before, and testing out the fiber before Vlogmas started. So, I have my 24 days of color. I forgot to turn off my phone. Let's silence that. And I ended up with my 24 little tufts of color. Then my thought also was, well, I'll wrap each of these in little wrapping paper and unwrap a gift every day. And then I thought, well, as much as I do have wrapping paper I could use up, I was running a little late, and the countdown was going to start much more, it was much sooner than I had time to do a lot of extra work. So instead I ended up picking up these little muslin bags, which turned out to be a fabulous way of stashing my fiber, because I could also stash in little chocolates and the little decorative cards that had the names of the dye on them. So that's how we have gotten to this day. This is what I've done. But then the question arises, and yes, Jennifer, I'm shouting out to you. You've asked the question. I will answer it here as well as in the comments. Thank you for asking, because I do need to remind everybody. So I've been thinking about when I was going to ply, how I was going to ply. Was I going to be absolutely crazy and try to ply on Christmas Eve after having spun the final fluff? What was I going to do? Well, in the past, I have spun into the new year. I've stayed up late and I have spun into the new year. And I was thinking that actually would be a really good time to ply my yarn. I do like the notion of Distaff Day, where traditionally the women would put aside the wheel and leave it until, until I think it's the end of Epiphany is what it is. In essence, until the 7th of January. I do like that, and I do like the idea of spinning on Distaff Day and celebrating it, but I also like spinning my way into New Year. It's something that I've done with both of my kids. It's something I have done with both of my kids in person when we're all together, and it's something that we've been able to do with one of them virtually joining us through the wonders of electronics. So I like the idea of spending my New Year's spinning. So I'm thinking that what I will end up doing is I will ply this fiber on New Year's Eve. And I may very well post a short video on New Year's Day. So keep an eye out if you're on, if you're on YouTube on New Year's Day. Keep an eye out. There might be a short. If there is a short, I'll either link it in my Instagram, or if it's a very, very short video, I'll post it on Instagram and Facebook. I suspect it will be, if I do something, it'll be too long for Instagram and Facebook. But it may be just a short recap of me spinning at maybe high speed with some fun music in the background or something. We will see what I do. I do know this, that by the 7th, by Distaff Day, barring any kind of craziness, I will have this fiber plied up, and I will have soaked it and set it and let it dry, and I will have it ready to share with you on Distaff Day. So January 7th, if I don't put anything else out there earlier, look out for a video on January 7th. That is my goal. So there you have it. Because I was asked the question in the comments, thank you again, Jennifer, for asking, because I forgot all about, in the craziness of it, that might be a question. I forgot to mention it. I will be, that's what I'm going to, that is my plan. So, that is my plan. We will hope nothing will interrupt that. But I don't know when I will end up plying this skein. I suspect I will be spinning in the new year. But I might not be able to wait until the new year to ply this. We will see. If I get itchy to see how this turns out, I'll ply it before New Year. Either way, there will be a finished skein. One of the things about being a quilter and doing so much other type of fiber crafting is that occasionally your wool fiber gets little pieces of cotton fiber mixed in from the sewing. In essence, strings everywhere. If it's not cat hair, it's string. So we will see. I'm not usually a very patient person when it comes to wanting to see the results. I am terrible about anticipation. I do not like suspenseful movies or books. I like to be able to figure out the end. About the depth of my suspense is good Agatha Christie level of suspense. Poirot and Miss Marple are about my level of whodunit and suspense. So, sadly, I am just not really good at patiently waiting. So we will see. But as tired as I've been feeling, especially with the cold that has descended, that is promising not to lift until after Christmas, I may not do anything more than sit and knit on my capelet in the week between Christmas and New Year's. I may just simply sit and knit and catch up on the different holiday movies and TV programs that my husband and I have been saying we need to sit down and watch. So I know that none of you will be tremendously disappointed if that is my decision, because you all seem to have a lot more patience than I do. So I look forward to it. I think it's going to be a really interesting end product. And if not, there's always the possibility of throwing some more dye on top of it. Over dyeing oops is not a problem. So, but I think this is going to be lovely. And this shamrock, oh wow, I am so glad this held off until this week, because this is such a beautiful green. It counters the drabness that is outside at the moment. It's just, yeah, it makes me think of spring. No, I'm not dreaming of spring. I'm dreaming of Christmas. Actually, I love winter here in Virginia, because it is, most of the time, other than when there's a real cold snap like right now, most of the time it's really lovely. I can go outside and do more things. Just enjoy walking around the property a little bit more. It's comfortable. So we have a finished spin for today. So let's see what kind of challenge, suggestion, ominous music play in the background, I can pull out of here today. Let's see. Okay. There's so few left, and most of them are green. So, what do we have here? Try out a new design? I think I can definitely do that, and I think this might be the last one of those suggestions. I still haven't got that take a bubble bath that I put in there. I can't believe that is holding off until this point. So it might be a good thing. But I'm afraid if I start relaxing too much at this point, I might not get back in the gear of things. I'm slowing down. My brain is slowing down. It is nearing, wait a minute, the 20th. I believe, isn't the 20th the solstice, or is it the 21st? Goodness. Well, if it is the solstice, then happy solstice. If the next day is the solstice, then happy solstice anyhow. See, this is what happens. I lose track of the days even though I have a calendar right behind me. I'm so focused on just enjoying the moment that I'm not really worried about everything else going on out there. That's been the real success for me of doing Vlogmas this year, is that my focus on spinning every day has actually pushed away a lot of the worries and stress that normally can dominate my day. So I hope you've enjoyed this Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric with me. And whether today is the solstice, or tomorrow is the solstice, or the day after is the solstice, I know that we are in the depth. We're reaching the darkest day of the year. But we can have a little bit of light and joy even in the bleak midwinter. Although I'm not really sure it's midwinter if it's just starting. Maybe they mean temperature as opposed to the actual season. Okay, I am losing the plot again. I have run out of time. I hope you're having a wonderful time. I hope that you're getting a chance to rest and enjoy. I hope that if you are into Christmas carols, you're singing them at the loudest volume you can manage. I just hope that you are embracing this season and having some peace, some joy, and a little bit of time to yourself. That is my wish for you. As I lose the plot and wrap up another vlog for this countdown. We'll see you tomorrow.